This for the start of the college football game week. We're going to talk about Boston College. I'm going to give you bold predictions that are going to rock your world and my projections and records for Boston College heading into this season. This is an episode you're not going to want to miss.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome. This is Locked On Boston College. I'm your host, AJ Black. Happy Friday, everyone. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. So it's been a long, 8-9 months since Boston College played football. And we have talked about this team until our face has turned blue. We have gone over every aspect on how BC has to change in order for them to be successful in the 2023 season. And today's episode is our last preview of the season in general before we dive into NIU week starting on Monday. So you're going to want to get in here because we're going to talk about the Huskies. We're going to talk about BC. We'll give you all the updates from press conferences and injury and depth chart reports, everything you're going to want to know here on Locked On BC. So I promised I will deliver some bold predictions. Now, if you're at home and you're writing these down, please do hold me accountable for these because these are my projections, my predictions for this upcoming season. And I want to some of them are individual predictions. Some of them are team, like unit predictions, and some are schedule predictions. So you're going to want to hear some of the things that I have to say about this season. Now, my first one is the guy on the screen right now, Emmett Morehead. I had someone in my comment section say, Emmett Morehead's not going to start game one. He's going to start game one. He'll be there. And my projection for this season, how many yards Morehead would throw. I looked up. I thought maybe around like 230 yards or so, 240 yards per game would be a good average for Morehead, especially if you have a more balanced offense, which would put him around 2,880 yards. That's for 12 games, though. My projection, if he throws for 240 yards a game or so, is that he is going to throw for 3,000 yards this upcoming season. That is my bold prediction for Emmett Morehead, which would put him around in the 30s in terms of quarterbacks around the country, which if you're thinking that he's going to take a step forward, I think that is reasonable. Now, he averaged like 300 yards per game in November in 3 of his games. I'm not expecting that. That's not going to happen because he's going to have a running game that he can lean on as well. But with Ryan O'Keefe, Joseph Griffin, Jaden Williams, and George Takis, I think he's got enough that 240 yards in a game shouldn't be that bad. In addition, you have some teams that should be able to let up some things in the air. You're looking at teams like Virginia or all 4 of their out-of-conference games. They should be able to pad up some stats there. I'm not expecting him to be a all ACC quarterback, but 240 yards per game, I don't think is out of the realm of possibility for Emmett Morehead. And I already gave you a hint on where I'm going with my schedule record at the end of the episode. In terms of touchdowns, I think 23 is where I'm going to sit at with this. 23 touchdowns. Now, if you were wondering, what did Morehead have last year? Morehead had they already moved it over. He had 10 last year. And he played 10 games. He really played 4. And in the month of November, if you look at what he had 9 in the month of November. Now, that was asking him to basically run the entire offense. He's not going to do that every month. I think with a more balanced offense, you're going to see Patrick Garwo and Alex Broom and guys like that start to get to vulture some of those touchdowns away from Morehead, but I think 23 touchdowns. So how's that sound? 2,800 yards, 3,000 with a bowl, and 22 touchdowns for 23 touchdowns for Emmett Morehead. That's my bold prediction on him. Now, next, I want to talk about the offense versus the defense. And my bold prediction here is that the offense takes a step forward, a big step forward. I think they're going to average, they're going to have some really good offense this year in terms of scoring. Okay. When it's all said and done, they averaged 17.8 yards per game, points per game last year, 24.7 with Dennis Grosselli 2 years ago, and then almost 28 per game in 2020. I'm going to say they're going to average 28 points per game this year. I think that's a huge step up. That's 10 more points per game, especially since they gave up 30.3 last year. My concern and my issue here is, so the offense is going to go forward. You're going to get more points, but I think the defense might regress a little bit. And that's scary when you have 30 points, when you were allowing 30 points per game. But I don't think it's going to regress in terms of points. I think you're going to see around 30 points per game or so. But you're going to see there's issues. And I think my bold projection is that the offense is going to have to save the defense in the season. Like the defense has saved BC for the last 2 years. I think it's going to get flipped this year. Now, I love Donovan Azaraku. I think they're going to have a good defensive line. I'm a little concerned, as I said on yesterday's episode, about the linebackers in the secondary. I think there might be plays that come out of that cause the defense to struggle. And so you're gonna need to get more points out of the offense, which I think they're gonna do. I think, and I'm not gonna make a bold projection on this because it's nothing I can say. I've said it over and over again. I think the offensive line is gonna take a major step forward this year, like big, because they're gonna go from the bottom to a solid passing attack with sacks allowed dropping as well, which is going to let everything flow more through the offense. So the offense for me is going to save the defense this year. That's my prediction there. Now, in a moment, I'm going to give you one more player prediction, and I'm going to give you a game prediction in our second piece here. Now, if you know me, you know I love going to games. I've been to a bunch of Woo Sox games this summer. If you've ever been to a Woo Sox game, it's a lot of fun. Now, you can get your tickets to any game you want on Gametime. So my family came down last week, and they wanted to go to the Woo Sox game, and I didn't get tickets in time. And honestly, Woo Sox tickets sell out fast. So I went to Gametime. They had the tickets right there. Easy. You just put in your, what you're looking for. And it wasn't stressful at all. It was right on my phone. And I got a killer deal on last minute tickets with the best price guarantee. So you can stop stressing over the tickets too, just like I did, and start getting hyped for the fun you're going to have when you go to any game you want to go to. They have Boston College games on there too. They have flash deals and last minute tickets, easy to find and buy seats for any event in your area. Sports, I think they have theater and music as well. So forget planning months in advance. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. So get images of your seat before you buy so you know exactly what you want. And then download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest priced, guaranteed. This is Locked On BC. I am your host, AJ Black, and we're talking about our bold predictions for this upcoming season. And I had 2 in the first. I'm going to give you 4 for this episode. I have some that I don't feel as confident about, like Neto Ekpala. I feel like we'll have like 7 sacks, but I don't feel strong enough to go out there and say that. I think that Elijah Jones will lead the team in interceptions, but that can be a kind of a crapshoot as well. But I do feel confident that Boston College's running game is going to jump up into the top half of the country. Now, yeah, top half of the country, you're probably saying, ooh, wow, who cares? They remember, just take a step back and remember where they were last year. The fact that Alex Brome and Pat Garwo and some of the other running backs that they had, anytime they touched the ball, they would be hit like 2 to 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. It was brutal. So for them to go from an absolute detrimental aspect to their game to one of the better ones in country, like top half of the country, is a huge piece of improvement. Now, a lot of that's going to be on the offensive line. Most of that should be on the offensive line. If they improve, these guys are going to be able to do that. You're going to be able to see guys like Alex Broom finally do what you brought him here to do. This guy he's smaller than me. I'm not a tall dude, but he is built like a muscular hamster. Like, he's huge. And I think he's going to be a talent for BC. Now, for BC to get in the top half of the country, they need to average about 159 yards per game on the ground. As I've said, I think BC's offense is going to be much better, and it's going to be balanced. And Jeff Hafley keeps talking about how they're going to run the ball. So he's going to run the ball. I think they can do that. So if you want to feel how much that means to improve, 159 means they're going to have to average almost 100 yards. It's actually like 96 yards per game than they did last year. That's the level of improvement I am predicting for their run game. I'm not ready to say who's going to be the more, who's going to get the most yards, because both Garwo and Broom have been with the first team at practices, and they both do certain things really well. So it's all kind of just, I guess it's going to be kind of flushed out on who has the more explosiveness, who can be more reliable. And honestly, you also want to see who can hold on to the ball. We can't have fumbles and interception, mistakes that cost the team. So that's my next bold prediction, is that the running game is going to average about 150 plus yards per game. Is that too bold? Leave it in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you guys have to think about that. And finally, our last bold prediction for this upcoming season, we'll get into the record in just a little bit, is about a win. And I'm going to kind of cop this one a little bit and kind of tailor it a little bit, but here's what I'm going to say. I think Boston College is going to win a game that you don't expect. And one of those games, here's the three that I think that are good potential wins for BC. Pitt at Pitt, Miami at home, or Louisville. They're going to win one of those games. And why is that a big deal? It's because Louisville, Josh Pate of 247 had them as a potential playoff team, which I think is a bit of a reach. Pitt is a potential top 25 team, and Miami is, everyone's darling. So let's go play team by team of why I think it could be this team. One of these three is going to fall to BC. Louisville, new head coach. They love Jeff Brom down there. They think he's the God's gift to the Cardinals, and great. They got the guy that they want. But I look at a team like Louisville and I think of what's going on in Colorado. Now, Louisville was more talented last year. They went 8-4. BC beat them. This year, they have raided the transfer portal. Like, I think they probably have the most transfers other than maybe Miami in the ACC. So I look at them and I look at what Colorado did, and I have a little hesitancy to buy a team that is just basically all mercenaries. The transfer portal is fine, but when you're basically making your entire team out of it, and they got a quarterback and they've got guys all over the place, Storm Duck and blah, 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 blah. There's a potential that things don't click. That's all. They could click. The Cardinals could be totally fine. But I'm saying there's a potential here of them not clicking. And you get them early enough in the season where it might not click early enough for them to get things going. So you could catch them napping. That's my thoughts on Louisville. Pitt. This is more towards the end of the season. And this game has muck and yuck written all over it. It's, I think, a Thursday night game in Pittsburgh. Watch, it's going to rain. It's going to rain. You get Djokovic potentially if, he stays healthy. You've got Pitt's defense, which is very good. But this is the kind of game that will probably screw up my first bowl prediction of points per game for BC, because this is going to be a game that's like 17-14. It's going to be gross. It's going to be physical, and it's going to be fluky. But they're not going to say it. They love Phil Djokovic. I know Jeff Hafley really likes him, and the parting is mutual. But you've got to know, man, that everyone in this game is going to be jazzed up for this. Between Frank Signetti, Hafley, Morehead, Djokovic, anyone who played with with Djokovic. I don't know. This game could just get weird. And if it gets weird, yeah, Pitt could definitely be a top 25 team. But even if Pitt beats BC, it's going to be by a little bit. So who's to say it doesn't go the other way? So that's my thoughts on that game. Then Miami, Tyler Van Dyke. They went 5-7 last year. And again, they, with John Ruiz in his life wallet, went out and bought, all these different players to come in and fix it. We haven't seen Miami do anything. Everyone loves Miami, but they haven't done anything yet. They're a losing team under Mario Cristobal, and they play 3 potential top 25 teams, including Florida State, before they play BC. I don't know the physical makeup of the Hurricanes. Not going to guess on it. But the fact that you get them at the end of the year at Alumni Stadium when it's cold, if you're a Boston College fan, you remember some of those last games of the season where it's like 20 degrees out. It's perfect for BC to go out there against a team that could have been smacked around a lot. And maybe they're feeling, like, let's just get the season over with. Who knows? But I think at least one of those situations is going to happen. BC will beat either Louisville, Pitt, or Miami. That's my predictions right there. Now, in our final segment, you guys have been wanting to know what my predictions are going to be. I'm going to tell you all about them, and we'll get into that in just a moment. This is Locked On BC AJ Black. I hope you guys are getting excited for the season. I am too. I was just on campus for a press conference. I got my press pass and I'm ready to go for the first game. And I was walking around Alumni Stadium and I saw they've got the beer already, in. I saw the Harpoon and the Bud Light seltzers. They're getting ready to set that up. And if you follow me on Twitter, I have the picture up. They got the graphic already up for the BC NIU game. So it's getting ready. They're working really hard under Alumni Stadium. I can tell you that. Now, I have been very high on BC this year. I have defended them on multiple shows that I've guested on. I've been on a Louisville show, a Clemson show. I have been feeling it. So when it comes down to this, you might have already read my article, but I want to talk about it. I want to talk about why I think BC is going to do what they do. So folks, if you've been wondering, my bold prediction, and I don't know why I'm doing this to myself again, because every time I get myself high on Boston College, they let me down, but I'm going to do it again this year. FanDuel has BC at 5.5 wins. I can't check it here because I'm in Massachusetts, but I know that's what they had it at. I think BC is going to easily surpass that. I think they're going to win 8 games this year. I already told you why I think the offense is going to be better. I think the defense will be enough. I think the offense will still have to bail them out. But that schedule is perfect for BC to jump ahead. I believe what Hafley has said about the BC being a team that wins when they have the front line on the offense and the defense. And this year they have it. You have Donovan Azaraku, Nato Ekpala, Edwin Kalengi, George Rooks, Quan Williams. They got a lot of guys to plug up that middle. That defensive line is going to be good. The offensive line, I think, is going to be very good. I think with Christian Mahogany here, I can't wait to see what Kyle Hergel does. And I think Drew Kendall and Ozzie Trapillo are going to take a giant step forward. That last piece, who knows if is it going to be Jude Bowery? Is it going to be Logan Taylor? We'll have to wait and see there. But BC will be much, much better at the point of attack. Those front 5 are going to help BC win games. So what games do I think they're going to win? I think they're going to go 4 for 4 out of conference. I know folks are always saying the thing about Holy Cross. I don't think it's there. I don't see it. My worry is UConn, but remember, folks, UConn beat BC last year because they couldn't block. And that was all the only reason UConn won that game. They won on a fluky touchdown. BC's offense couldn't do anything, but BC's offense should do things this year. And if they get things going, they should beat UConn. NIU, I don't think will be an issue. And then Army, if you had Army in 2 years after they install this new offense, I'd be more worried about it. Then, as I said, you had those 3 games. They're going to win one of those. There is the rest of the games, other than Florida State, are 50-50 games for potentially for BC if they're playing the way that they need to play. You have Syracuse could be 50-50, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech. Those games are all 50-50 games. So you just got to win a couple of them. You get to 8 wins. So then, where does BC go from here? What bowl game do they go to? I don't want to make bowl projections because I hate them. because they're just always never right. But if I was to guess, I'm guessing BC will end up at, I don't think they'll end up at Fenway because I think Fenway wants to push them off as much as possible. How's the Pinstripe Bowl feel again? I mean, it's a Big Ten game, right? And then you play in Illinois or Purdue or something like that. If you win that game, you go into the offseason at 9-4. What kind of momentum are we talking about here? Finally, that would get Boston College going in the right direction, getting some momentum with conference realignment, with recruiting, with players, transfers. It would help a ton. This is a big ask. BC's got to do a lot better than they did last year, but I think it's going to happen. I believe that this team is ready. I believe this team has everything it needs to go 8-4 in 2023. Now, what do you think? Leave your projections in the comment section below. Now, on Monday, we'll be back again. I believe I'm going to have Mitch on. We're looking into still having a couple special guests. Hopefully a big one's coming again, and we'll talk all about that on Monday's show. Now, follow me on Twitter at AJBlack247. Go over to Eagle Insider. Head over there. This is free stuff. If you don't want to be a subscriber, that's okay. But if you want to be a subscriber, 50% off right now, from now until the beginning of the season. Head on over there. Get a subscription. Full year for like a cup of coffee a month. Perfect, right? Well, thank you all so much. Have a great weekend, everyone. I'm ready to start talking about the season. We're going to be getting into it all on Monday. Take care, everyone.